Hello, true duelists. My name's Craig Fee, and the anti-Craig Fee bias strikes again. The Master Duel ban list, of course, dropped Thursday night around midnight my time, and my weekly video series I release every Friday didn't allow me to talk about it because I'm simply not a psychic and did not predict when the list would drop and what it would have on it. That is, of course, because I am secretly a reptile man, which is why you'll never see me standing lest I show you my tail. Praise be, of course, to Zuckerberg. And now for a very natural and organic segue into the actual topic of this video. Coming into effect on February 6th, this is what all players would call a good ban list, or one of the good ones. Konami typically flips a coin in regards to Master Duel's ban list as to whether or not they'll make a meaningful change to the game, or something completely irrelevant like Long Wan to 2. If it was played at 3 and actually affected consistency in the grind game, a very popular meta deck. Shut up, okay? It did nothing, and you know it did nothing. But this list has done something original, namely banning the bug. And by banning, I mean semi-limiting, and by original, I mean copying the OCG. So, the exact opposite of what I said in all actuality. Not as exciting when you stop and think about it, but it is in fact something. Maxx C going to 2 following the release of the Molcharmies in the game is about as appropriate as timing can get, because you already know what to replace it with if you feel the need to keep combo decks in line, which you will feel the need to do if you play the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! But as we all know, the bird does not one-for-one the replacement of the bug, since it only draws off summons from the main and extra deck, and Perulia ain't quite there. And that's, of course, the fact that all the Molcharmies are unplayable once you control a card, making it very much a going first only a card, which is a trait that makes it much easier to play in paper than in digital, since siding isn't a thing in Master Duel. How could Konami do this, is the question that's being asked. It's like when the TCG Limited called by the grave, and I was asking, where can I find a card that banishes cards from my opponent's grave as a quick play spell and negates the banished card's effect and is also only 10 cents? I was then informed that there is not in fact a one-for-one replacement for every card in the game, and I was immediately outraged. This is unacceptable to me, and also mean. But the consensus amongst the people is that it's a good thing because the bug fucking sucks to play against. And by most people, I mean me, and that's what matters most to me, goddammit, so it's what I'm going to talk about. I am of the opinion that the Charmies are both better for the health of the game and for the aesthetics of the game, because if I lose to the bird, I can at least blame it on birds being demonic in some capacity, and then put one on my desk and punch it to try and cope with it. Or, not have to deal with the fact that I'm looking at a glowing pair of eyes that are super secret a cockroach, we promise. Also, if I lose to Meowls, I can just say, meouch, that hurt, and then promptly get assaulted on the street in a deserving manner. When I lose to this shit, I end up seeing it in other places inadvertently, and then have war flashbacks to going second facing a board I think I can break, and then Maxx C is dropped on me and I lose both the duel and my will to live. The obvious question is, does this mean we can expect the trend to continue? This was the path that Maxx C was on in the TCG when it got banned, going to 2 and then to 1 and then to 3 in people's minds because it never left. It just was an endless debate. Even before Master Duel came out, people argued for this card constantly, and it was as insane as it is annoying. But with it at 2 in the OCG and in Master Duel, we're left to wonder, will they actually be making new tactical tri-decks to sell to OCG players? Because without new ones printed, with less or no copies of Maxx C in those new ones, we can be certain it's not going anywhere. The tactical tri-decks are something the TCG isn't used to, that being a good, affordable product that's great for getting someone into the game. Instead, we in the TCG get a Zeus reprint and the best decorations for your local landfill since the printing of Hidden Arsenal Chapter 1. But those things are still doing great for the OCG, and there's no way Konami is eager to sell people unplayable cards in the OCG. What is it, the TCG? Come on. I'm, of course, talking out my ass. I don't even know if the tactical tri-decks are still available in the OCG at all. I just know that the haters love to hear this kind of thought process, and I took the chance to pander because I felt like doing so. So get hyped for the Synchron, Sky Striker, and Paleo tactical tri-decks, or whatever archetypes they choose to reprint the Charmies in the OCG exclusively. The rest of the hits on this list are pretty negligible, I think, because despite the thumbnail title and last 6 minutes of our lives, this video is more than just about Cockatron. Secret Forest of Abuse and Play Limit are both very good bans when you remember that they don't let people play, and most people like to play in some capacity, so removing them from the game is something most everyone can get behind. midnight. And the Limit of Anti-Spell is yet again something that makes me feel like it should be banned, but at least seeing less of it will just make me extra salty when I do see it as the one of, much like playing Long Night of Solace on Legendary on the Master Chief Collection, because I did that recently and was reminded what hate feels like on such a primal level. I shoehorned it into this video needlessly and without success. And then of course the semi-limits to Nightmare Throne and Sangan Kamen are hits to Yubel and Tenpai, which are decks that are seeing play in spite of the other means to try and stop them previously, even if the means to try and stop them previously were things like Phantom to 2, which is like, yeah, okay, it's one less Phantom, that is something, but could we maybe do a bit more? And so behold, more by just a bit. And then there's the Unlimits, which include jar cards that won't see play outside of meme decks, Celestial coming back to 3 because do you remember when DPE was a problem? Those were fun times. And then there's Bestial, a Serenir, a Luber, and Branded Opening all going to 3. Now, more Bestials is either great or terrible depending on whether or not you play light or dark decks, but a buff to Bestials generally seems liked by people from what I've seen, and fans of Branded are of course in a desperate need to be shot regardless so they can have whatever they want. I am not the first person, but I am about to be the last person to tell you to ban Sanctifier. That's of course because we can need to get rid of more than just Gimmick Puppet and Jaugen, because they can simply replace those cards with something like Ra's Disciple, or Ito, the Supreme Magical Force, or Christia, or one of 1,000 other floodgates on legs that this game has. The TCG literally banned Branded Expulsion for this exact reason in the past, and now all regions refuse to simply follow the sensible thing we've won once before, because good ideas are apparently just a fireable offense, which is deeply upsetting and incredibly annoying. So when that finally happens, I'll stop calling Branded players brain dead, just as long as we ignore the fact that I will literally never stop calling them that, because it is both very funny and very true. So what's the overall status of the ban list here as I fix my tie for the 19th time? Well, it's acceptable, much like the status of my tie right now. Ignoring the bug, it's a very solid list that doesn't drastically change the meta, but it's removed some floodgates, hit some problem decks, and brought back some other ones that people like. I've seen worse things done on a ban list, namely Longwan to 2. I don't care, dude, that list sucked and I'm not gonna stop. And it teases a future free from the bug, which is one I can approve of, so hook me up with that copium, baby. I'm a goddamn addict. And, you know, release the new Tactri decks, Konami, just so it can be a profit, because that'd be extra funny. So that wraps it up. This is just a quickie on the status of the Master Duel ban list, because I felt the need to make it. Thanks for watching, and as always, you know what to do. Hit subscribe, impress your smoking Italian wife, and become a true duelist. And I'll see you in Friday in yet another update that Konami will release critical information of the night before, and then it'll be outdated on release, my video, because I keep insulting their products, but in my defense, all they have to do is stop making trash like the 2-player starter kit, and then I'll stop making fun of them. It's not hard, and therefore it's not my fault. Anyway, see ya.